Great. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us here today. It's always a fast-paced session with tons of great content. So let's jump right in. I'm just going to give a quick intro, and then the team will take you through a lot of good stuff. So we can go to the next one, Ben. I'm just going to share a little bit on the agenda for today so you know what's coming. You've got a number of familiar faces who are presenting some fantastic content for you. And if you go to the agenda, Ben, I'll walk folks through it real quick. Maybe it's after. So one thing I wanted to share with you are not just Oracle Analytics benefits, but new programs that Oracle has released to help you get to the cloud and achieve success. This one is called Oracle Cloud Support Rewards. Larry Ellison presented this a little over a week ago, I believe, and it's a very compelling program that allows you to retire some of your support costs by introducing new workloads in OCI. So for every dollar you spend on OCI, you get a quarter back, and if you have a ULA, an unlimited license agreement, it's actually 33 cents on the dollar that you get back. So some customers are able to reduce their maintenance and support cost to zero just by moving them to the cloud. So this is something that customers have been requesting for a while, and I think it's a fantastic program that a lot of customers will be getting benefit from. I wanted to make sure that you were aware of it. Additionally, on the next slide, Ben, another program that Oracle has introduced to help you have success in the cloud is Cloud Lift services. These are free services, usually completed in around 60 days, I believe, finding a workload and helping you achieve success in the cloud. It's a global program now. If you go to this website, oracle.com/cloud/cloud lift, the blog announcement you can link to from there, as well as a lot more information on the program. There have been a number of companies globally who have taken advantage of this to great success. So another great program to look into in case you aren't aware. And then Code Innovate. Ben has had this topic discussed, I believe, on this call before, but if not, this is something we hear about all the time. Code Innovate is a hacking session. It's really a kind of a hackathon workshop that happens over the course of a few days to help you build out your first success with analytics. So this has been used by, boy, I bet I could name about 7 different customers who I've heard who have gone through this, and we just continue to get great feedback. So if you're not familiar with this and are interested, reach out to Ben and team here and check out that website for Code Innovate. This is a new one that you may also not be familiar with, which is Cloud Coach. And there's a session here that I pulled up on OAC for developers. It's a website where developers help developers, and you can learn from those who have more experience, perhaps, and get some good coaching on what's possible in the cloud, including with analytics. So I just wanted to share those links for you. These programs get introduced, and oftentimes they're easy to miss. So I'd want to make sure that you knew of all these great new programs that are helpful, that really help you to achieve success in the cloud with analytics. Also, I wanted to let you know about upcoming events that we have. Been on the next one. If you missed the Oracle Live that TK Anand delivered, please go here and check it out. It's fantastic. It covers the latest innovations in Oracle Analytics Cloud. It's about a 23-minute session full of great content, great demos. The Redwood user interface is featured, and you're hearing it straight from TK himself. So I really, really encourage you to see this Oracle Live if you have not yet. It's short, digestible, and incredibly informative. So check it out, and then stay tuned for the Oracle Analytics Summit. We're doing this as a series this year, and the next one up will be on August 31st. This we just got the landing page for this about 10 minutes ago, so this is fresh off the press. There's the link where you can register, and it's going to be a great session. We have customers and partners. You're not going to hear a lot from me or TK or anybody talking about how great Oracle is. You're going to hear straight from customers and partners themselves about the success they are having. So Encourage you to register and look forward to seeing you there. And with that, I'm going to pass you on to the rest of the team. I don't know if you want me to cover the agenda, Ben, or if that's coming later.
Yeah, and this slide is fine, right? Correct.
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And maybe maybe you have the agenda really quick if you have time.
Yeah. So, like I said, you're going to hear from some familiar voices. You've got Ash covering ERP. You'll have Jacques talking about Redwood. You'll see some Redwood today and learn some more on the conditional formatting engine. Manisha's going to cover HCM. Always some great content there. Barry will run you through the analytics platform. That's always a fast-moving and exciting time. Carrie Nielsen, who leads our sports analytics strategy, is going to share more about what we're doing around sports. Ben will take you through some product strategy, and there's a new face and name with Alex, who's joined the team, who's going to give you an overview of Oracle Analytics. So enjoy. I'm going to pass it on to the rest of the team now.
Thanks, Joey. And today we have Alex. So Alex, you can take it. And Alex, you are on mute, I think.
Sorry about that. Hello, everyone. My name is Alexandria Toothman. I recently joined the product strategy team for Oracle Analytics as a product manager. Ben, if you could switch the slide for me, please. So today I wanted to show you that Oracle has been helping customers for 20 plus years analyze the world's most important data, from monitoring nurse and doctor shifts during crisis to analyzing insurance claims after disasters, to keeping hotel customers safe during stays. Can you please switch it for me? All right. We are proud to have more than 400,000 customers trust Oracle to help run their business. You're probably familiar with many of these companies, including Lyft, FedEx, and Dropbox. They're using Oracle with Oracle Analytics. Next slide. Thank you. We are happy to have over 250 top leaders innovating with Oracle Analytics. They help the product strategy team every day improve the product. Some of these leaders include Lori from MetLife, Lisa from Dropbox, and Alex from FedEx. Okay, so for those of you not yet using Oracle Analytics, I wanted to give a quick introduction. It is an augmented analytics platform. It has the ability to do data preparation, data flow, data enrichment, data visualization. It's embedded with machine learning and AI. It provides automated forecasts and insights. It also has natural language processing, or NLP, as well as natural language generation, or NLG. It's important to note it's self-upgrading, self-patching, and self-securing, meaning you don't need an army of IT people behind the product. Additionally, Oracle Analytics is now available as a mobile application for users. It can be downloaded from the Apple or the Android store.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So we are going to move to the product strategy. So today I'm going to show a little bit of different updates. So let's go. And I'm going to move right away here. So my name is Ben. I'm Senior Director of Product Strategy for Oracle Analytics. I'm going to show you a few different things. First, the Oracle Analytics and Cloud Infrastructure Platform. You can see at the top that we have two key products that are Oracle Analytics Cloud. So the augmented analytic platform in the cloud, Oracle Analytics Server, which is exactly the same, but on-prem. And then our star product, which is Fusion Analytics Warehouse. And today we will have Manisha and Ash speaking respectively about FAW for HCM, Human Capital Management, and FAW for ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning. So Ash is going to speak about this product, Manisha about this solution. In the future, you will see new products like SCM Analytics Warehouse, you will see CX Analytics Warehouse and NetSuite Analytics Warehouse. You have to understand that all these products are part of the Oracle Analytics solution. It's built on top of Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, which is the most advanced generation 2 of infrastructure in the cloud. And we have different analytic features. Alex already spoke about some of them, but we have also semantic model, self-service dataset, multi-data sources connection. Barry will tell you more about all the data sources you can connect. Analytic catalog, mobile application that you can download now, natural language, you have one-click advanced analytic. You don't need to spend time to have a PhD in data science. You can literally do one click to see cluster, outlier, to do forecast, machine learning, and more. So it's really, really powerful. And then we have all the data visualization possible. I will show you some example and Barry will demo it. And we have also AutoML and AI Insight. In terms of roadmap, we delivered already this current version, which is version 6. You might know that you can now connect to Google BigQuery. You can connect with a JDBC connector also. You have data quality insight. It has been like an amazing year. The first half of the year, we deliver more than 100, I think, features. It has been packed. Now you have to know that the second half of the year, you will have an API connector. You are going to have connection to Microsoft Azure Synapse, PDF encryption, new Mapbox engine. So a lot of new things coming. And obviously this month, you will see the new Redwood experience, which is a new UI and UX. You will have Jacques just after, which is going to demo the new Redwood experience, and also conditional formatting engine. It has been a very good innovation. It has been a lot of work and development to do it because we wanted to deliver it with full capabilities. Then end of the year, start of next year, you will have a web-based semantic modeler. Remember, a lot of customers are using the RPD on-prem. They are using the BI admin tool on-prem to do all the data modeling between EPM, HCM, ERP, and all other data sources. Now you will have a drag and drop interface inside Oracle Analytics Cloud to do all the web-based semantic modeling. You will be able to work on new hierarchies and more. So it's going to be very, very powerful. In terms of Fusion Analytics Warehouse, you can see the roadmap here for July. Second half of the year is packed. We are going to have a beta program for NetSuite Analytics, beta program for Fusion CX Analytics, same for Fusion SCM Analytics. And then for Fusion HCM, we are going to see absence and accrual, profile and skills, compensation, talent review that was really requested by a lot of you, succession, payroll. So a lot of things are coming. For Fusion ERP, you will see PO, employee expenses, receipt agreement, requisition, project cost, also very important after a pandemic to monitor all the cost, financial category, fixed asset balances. So a lot of improvement into these two products. And first half of next year, you will see payroll, succession, learning for ERP project, commitment, sourcing, FA transaction, and more. So the Fusion Analytics Warehouse, for you that are not familiar with it, it's Oracle Analytics plus Autonomous Data Warehouse. We take all the data from ERP Cloud, all the data from HCM Cloud. We create the dashboard for you. We create the data catalog for you, the KPI for you. We build the standardized dashboard with all the drill down. And then in one click, all your executives, they can just go and literally look at all their dashboard. So it's really a fully managed analytics solution for you. I wanted to show you also Redwood with few of the screenshots that we did, few of the projects that we did recently. Barry is going to demo some of them, but I wanted to really quickly show you here at the bottom right, you can see conditional formatting. Here you can see that we are using airport satellite view to do some analytics. Here you can see, for example, we use a heat grid map. We use a map also to display the state in India for commodity price increase. And bottom right, it's a one-click forecast. This is the new Redwood interface here with a new icon, the new color. If you click on any type of data visualization, it's interacting with others and using it as a filter. Here you can see we did also a presentation for the Oracle Industry Innovation Lab using the Boston Dynamic Robo, and we analyze some of the data that are provided. I know a lot of you are going this summer to go in different islands or different countries. So we did a travel analytic DV project to show you that literally you can put an aerial view, draw polygon on it, and attach each polygon to your dataset to report, for example, here on the water bungalow occupancy. If you are more in the HCM or ERP data source, you can see here we use, for example, a DV project to analyze our top talent. You will see Carrie, which is the first picture. She is going to speak just after me about sports analytics today. And right now, Carrie, you can take it from here.
Thank you, Ben. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining today. I'm going to step you through some of the new things that have been going on with the sports analytics. I requested, there we go. So Oracle has a number of sports partnerships, but these are three of our top most viewed, I guess, sports partnerships. CellGP has been around for a long time. The Oracle boats and partnerships have been sailing for many years, and there's a lot of technology that has come out of the partnership. I'm going to step you through some of that today. Some of the more recent partnerships that you've probably heard of is the Red Bull Racing and Premier League. So the Red Bull Racing is an exciting one, as is the football, mostly in the European Union, of being able to provide some match insights that are going to be coming out and partnered with Oracle. Go ahead, Ben. For some reason, the remote isn't working for me. So before we get started, I wanted to give a little bit of a shout out to Great Britain. Two of our sports partners are going to be having events there this weekend. The F1 Pirelli British Grand Prix is going to be happening in Silverstone, and that's going to be a Google Play or Apple if you guys want to watch the race and watch the Formula One. The CellGP has the Great Britain CellGP event going on. That's in Ocean City, Plymouth. So for any of you that are wanting to watch up and keep up on those, wishing the best of luck to Max and Sergio on the Red Bull Racing team, as well as all the teams that are sailing this weekend there. So Oracle's well suited for sports analytics for a number of reasons, but due to the broad capabilities that Oracle offers in products and services, with sports, you have the need to capture data. So when you have sports teams, whether it's CellGP that has sensors that are on their boats that are needing to stream that information to capture the real-time data that's coming, or using Oracle data integration to move the data and access it from other applications. There's also in football or other sports where there's maybe a need to have a low code or some kind of a data input system that has maybe, you're a survey each day of how are you feeling? How was the gym workout? Things like that are all peripheral data points that allow for a sports team to be able to understand, what's going on with the team, and even help coaches to determine, what their lineup is for a specific game that's coming up. And then the developer side of having APIs and SDKs to reach out and access other applications that are in the cloud or otherwise that they may need to be able to bring in so that they can bring all of their data together. And for the store process, once you are capturing the data, you need somewhere to store that information. And of course, OCI has one of the most powerful technologies of compute, speed, scale up, scale down, and at a great cost. And the technology is of current, using containers and Kubernetes for teams that need to be able to duplicate or spin up different types of servers. Some of the data, especially in sports, has the need to have storage with block storage and file storage. Lots of video that is being captured in sports technology right now. And there's also, of course, the autonomous data warehouse that allows for you to have the structured data and be able to bring in that information and store it and combine it together so that you can build semantic models or relate the data. Of course, big data and blockchain are big technologies in the sports industry. So blockchain is something that's of more recent. Being able to secure health data for some of the athletes and transfer information is becoming very important. So once we've captured and stored and being able to process that information, there's the need to analyze it. And Oracle offers, of course, the Oracle Analytics Cloud, which you're going to see some demos today on that and understand how it's impacting the outcomes of some of these sports teams' information. But we also have a great, powerful data science arm where, the machine learning, and we have new visualization APIs to be able to look out, and use an API to visualize and tell you what that what the object is, as well as text. And so the AI and analytics side of being able to really gain insights and do the analysis that's needed. And then after that, I have the word manage, but really it's to be able to do something with the information or move the information again. So for instance, Red Bull is leveraging the SaaS applications of the customer experience to increase their fan base and being able to bring a new experience to them, which is going to be an exciting thing to report on for that. And then just the security and logging and notifications of events and moving information where it needs to go. And some of this information from the app developer standpoint ends up on the other side as well, because you need to be able to move the data somewhere else or provide an application that can render it in a specific way with certain technology. So we're going to go to the next slide. Give you a little preview of some of the ways SailGP is leveraging the technology. So when we look at the exciting marketing side of putting some excitement and visual around what's going on with that data, there's also a reference architecture that is in the behind the scenes that takes your data sources, which we went through a lot of these products and services that are being used here, but allowing those sensors to come in, data integration, to be able to bring it in and do streaming analytics and geospatial, and having those events come back out on the other side for consumers to be able to leverage with developed applications, mobile applications, or Oracle Analytics Cloud for the visualization side. So let's see if I can advance this. The SailGP last year had 44 billion data requests. This year it's expected to be 80 billion data requests, so moving a lot of data. And I'm just going to leave you here with an example of Oracle Analytics Cloud of being able to leverage custom map layers, being able to bring in whether you're doing line strings or polygons, and being able to interact. So this is an example of drilling into some map layers and having the predicted values of boat speed and wind be predicted, where it's all interactive. You can quickly be able to drill in and understand using some great visualizations of where slow points are, fast points are, and when things are off track. So you're going to see more of this from Barry now.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Carrie. It was really, really cool to see all this sport analytic. And now we are going to have Barry. And Barry, you can take it from here.
Cool. I'll share my screen and then I can take it from that.
Sure.
All right, so my name is Barry Mostert. I'm with the Senior Director with the Oracle Analytics Product Marketing Group. And what I want to talk to you today, just a little bit about the wider analytics kind of capabilities that we have. And then I'm going to go in and show you some of the product itself. Now, we do have you've heard from Carrie and all the others, how we bring in the data. It's really being able to connect to everything and leaving no data behind. And you can see that we do connect to all the Oracle sources, but it's a misconception that Oracle's for Oracle. We do have over 30 native connectors. and we have JDBC to bring in anything else. So it's really leaving no data behind, bring it in. We have BigQuery, Snowflake, Redshift, all of those sources are already there, available. And then bring it in with an integration layer so we can move that data that's appropriate. And we have all the kind of storage capabilities that are offered with OCI platform to do that. And you know, the magic really comes when you pair great analytics with a great data management layer, because together it's data and analytics. And that's where the autonomous data warehouse comes in. It's not just a store for data, but it actually extends the services that offers on to analyze in the analytics cloud, such as the graph and spatial. These services and Oracle machine learning built into the autonomous data warehouse are integrated already out of the box into OAC. So you can start to bring in more intricate machine learning capabilities and models from the ADW from business users' perspective with no code, no specialized skills to really get into that machine learning data-driven capabilities. And then we deliver that through great visualizations, which I'll show you next, and through a great mobile app. So we really want to be able to offer analytics to every role. We're not just a visualization tool for analysts. We are not just a coding tool for developers. We are everything from execs all the way through to the developers, something for everybody in a single integrated tool. So what we're really trying to do here, from the connection of the data through the movement, the storage, the data management, through the visualization, is a single unified platform so that everything is trackable, traceable, and you don't have little bespoke data exports and where you start to lose governance and security problems and so forth. That's the important part. So let me get on and show you some of the capabilities we're going to look at. And right here, this is Redwood. And we do have kind of traditional style dashboards where we have spark lines and metrics as KPIs, and you can show these on here. But what I really want to start to do is think about how we can move on to using it a little bit beyond just creating dashboards. And you know, one of the things is you got to present this information in meetings. And what mostly happens is people cut and paste the stuff into PowerPoint. What we want to do is actually be able to present our information right from here. So we keep it integrated, keep it connected. So if anything changes in the data, you don't have to go through that exercise of recut and paste again. So essentially, I'm creating my slide deck here at the bottom, and then I can start my presentation right away without ever changing the tool, without ever losing that connectivity. And now I can start to look at my metrics. We can sit in the meeting, discuss those, my mouse overs, my filtering, all still intact. And I can move and progress my slides in the little buttons at the bottom here, and we can see how various things move along. And I can even have my click and selection, so I can see within certain graphics how they are connected and the contextual linkage between those information, all done from a single place. So looking at beyond that, Ben started showing some of these things. And what I wanted to show you is these map layers things all are connected as if it's a pie chart, no code required. And once they're done, I can start to make selections and say, well, if I wanted to investigate that group of containers, I just have to select them. And there's no coding to connect the visualizations. It's automatically done. I can now see the containers that are listed here that are affected by that group. Or if I wanted to do the reverse and say what's heading in and out of China, I can simply click on China and the graph is updated, the network graph and all the connects. And this is fully interactive too. If I wanted to spin this round, this is a group of plugins. So if the visualization you're looking for on our platform isn't there, you can grab any D3 graphic like this and then bring it in as a plugin, and then you'll be able to have those graphics. So again, we have quite a number. I think we have the most number of built-in visualizations of any product, but don't let that limit you. Anything you need, bring it in. And the customization can keep going on. So we can start to customize this to look the way that your company needs it to look, so that it can be better for embedding. You can include graphics, metrics. You can change all the colors. If you want to make it in this kind of pink and purple color, this is an option to you. And again, I can select the different points and see how each of these affects the different charts. All the customizations you could possibly need. Even to this point, we've got the super purple one, so that we really can start to think about embedding visualizations within your website or something, so that it doesn't look like a disconnected or forced in object, but naturally part of what you're looking at. We also have natural language built in, as you can see. So I'm just going to show you how you do that. It's really easy. Adding natural language is not an integration project. It's not a difficult thing to do. I'm just going to take this chart here, and all I'm going to do is say, let's duplicate that chart. And now I've got two of them, and I'm just going to change this chart type down here to the narrative. And by selecting narrative, it automatically brings that up. So a narrative is no different to a line chart, as you can see, and I can just drag and drop that, give it a bit more space. And we have the ability to have a control over that. So we can see on the left here, the level of detail. I can control the level of verbosity just simply with this slider, reduce the amount of words, bring up the number of words. I can change the breakdown from a trend description to a breakdown if you like to have a different kind of look at the way the data is going to affect it. And if you want to change languages, you know, we can do that too. I just simply swap it to French and then bang, bang, it's in French. So very easy to bring in natural language descriptions. And again, rather than doing a manual version of typing this stuff out, just to have your data change, rendering your report, your typing, you know, obsolete, having it connected like this means that as your data changes, this is always going to be up to date. Moving forward, just looking a little more, you know, we want to get out of the concept of just doing line charts and pie charts and that old school kind of dashboards. Render the information in the way that makes sense for your business case. And here we can start to see a shop floor of a supermarket. And I've got some time periods. So I can just say, let's look at the foot traffic on the shop floor at around the 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. time. I just click on the bar and then it's going to, or go to this time at the 9 to noon. And I can see people are fairly well dispersed as I move through the times from, that doesn't seem to like the odd times. Well, normally it works and it's interesting. I'll move on to the next one. Building infographics is another thing we all got to do. So here, infographic, we start to construct this rather than going into Adobe and creating a static image. The numbers here are actually coming directly from the data sources. And if I select on France, I can start to still filter while it looks in this dashboard mode. And you can scroll down and construct the whole infographic the way you want it to look. And the good thing here is that once I'm done with my infographic, I can simply go and say, let's export that as a file. And I can choose a PDF and then do the export. Now, luckily, I've done one for you. And here you can actually see the result in Adobe here in what is ready as a PDF, which I can now publish to my website. I can now send out to my customers. I can use in that marketing activity you want. But there is a quick and easy way to create an infographic directly from your data without any, again, specialized expensive tools. Looking onto the Red Bull kind of things that Carrie was talking about, I was going to show something here because here we have unconnected map layers showing different points and segments. And then as I zoom in, you can see this is the Monaco edition of the F1, and we can see the course mapped out. And as I zoom in, we can see how people tracked on the course as we moved along. And those are two different points being stuck on the background map of here of Monaco directly, plus tracking the conventional metrics along the dashboard too. So that's what I was going to show today. I am going to finally just finish off to say, if you haven't already, here is our LinkedIn page. It's our showcase page. We'll put the link actually into the chat. Join it, because here we have all the latest information. We are going to talk about upcoming events like this Oracle Live. We have the other workshops that we are going to be, the hands-on workshops we create, we'll be putting them in here. So join for the latest news between the Oracle Live webinars that you attend. This is the great place to check that out. So thanks, Ben. I'll hand it back to you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Barry. I'm going to reshare my screen really quick. Here we go. Desktop 2. Perfect. So thank you. It was Barry Moster. So now we are going to have an update on Fusion HCM Analytics, and we are going to receive Manisha Gupta, which is Senior Director of Product Management for Oracle Analytics. So Manisha, you can take it from here.
Thank you so much, Ben. Hi, everyone. I'm very excited to share with you the new release that I cannot start sharing while the other participant is sharing. Who's sharing, Ben? Can I take over?
Yeah, you can take it now.
Thank you. Okay, can you confirm you can see it?
I confirm.
Thank you so much. All right, so I'm assuming that many of us are pretty aware of Fusion Analytics Warehouse for HCM by now. We've had several releases. So just a quick recap. We have good coverage for core HR, for recruiting, for internal mobility. We've also been talking about performance and goals, and then of course extensibility with surveys and benchmarking data. In our latest release, which I'm very excited to share today, we will be covering absence, compensation, and also workforce profile. So I will, in the next few minutes, won't have the time to show you everything about everything, but I'll leave you with a few highlights. One, absence, like, why is it important? And what we've been hearing for a long time is OTBI is good, but there are certain questions which it doesn't answer. For example, rejected and withdrawn absences, right? So beyond just having a good understanding of approved absences, can we also understand what happens under the hood? And there's also a diversity and inclusion angle to it, like other people specifically getting rejected when it comes to absences, etc. So that's one. The second piece, which is this, which is time trend over absence, over a period of time when it comes to absence. In this particular view, we just wanted to see if there's specific days in the week, or specific months where people are more absent, but you can actually change the dimension anytime to look at it from a perspective of a geography or a business unit or anything that makes sense. The key again thing is subject areas is very rich. We have incorporated a lot of information from multiple VOs or subject areas in OTBI to bring this together. So in a quick drag and drop, you can do that. I'll just show you a few more details here. So within absence, not only we can see the aggregate view, we can also see the detailed view because we are bringing in at that level of data, the grain. Some quick key questions that can now get answered. For example, anomaly detections. So this is talking about how many absences an individual requested and was approved, and what was the duration of absence, right? And if I were leading this team, I would be very curious to see, like, why is this person or has only taken one absence for one day? Maybe there's a burnout potential or something is going on, and I want to help this person. At the same time, I also probably want to help this person who's taken by now 7 vacations, approximately 8 days each, right? So these anomalies become much easier for us to identify both from HR and any manager perspective. There are other perspectives where we often talk about, is performance related to absence? So, and we can't talk in terms of correlations or causations here, but it may be a correlation that maybe it's low performance leading to high absence or high absence leading to low performance, right? Either which way, the data is now rich enough to help you answer these questions, which can then drive a different kind of behaviors, the desired behaviors that you would like in your organizations. Just clicking through further here within the absence area, again, there's aspects of D&I, like I mentioned, right? So there are specific pockets of your population where we may need to take a deeper look. And this is the traditional way of looking at D&I. I also think of D&I in terms of, colleges people came from, maybe job levels, maybe different geographies, there are some biases that might have surfaced up, right? So you can go on, but I'm going to, in the interest of time, switch on to the next piece, which is compensation. Now, compensation really, why this is powerful is when it comes to compensation, we are really trying to understand what we intend to pay after this comp cycle, right? So it's sort of like a mini planning tool in itself, and allows us to, helps us better if we can, in one view, look at comp plans and plan cycles and budgets and plan components all in one together. So the subject area, again, is rich, bringing together all this information, hence enabling us to not only create these executive views in one go, but also helps us understand, specific kind of details. So if I click on some of these, you can see like all the components are coming together in one subject area. Much easier to digest, much easier to actually focus on the planning aspect of it. Then the second piece of compensation beyond the planning is understanding what exactly are we paying as of right now, right? So here again, I'll just maybe focus a little bit more on the correlations between performance and compensation. Again, conversations we've had for many years, and debates we have had. Now we have data and we have insights to really answer those questions, right? So again, when we think in terms of the subject areas, as you can see, the whole perspective is much focused on, it's quite rich, like, lots of facts and dimensions here. The question always is, when it comes to HR, we are trying to, sorry, I forgot to actually turn on my video. I just realized I'm going to turn it on. So when it comes to HCM analytics, it's this pent up demand for potential questions and correlations between one area, and like, how can we really help our talent grow when we have hired them or hired the right ones, right? So these correlations lead us to, or these questions lead us to designing subject areas which are very comprehensive. So the number of subject area is not as important in our in this specific pillar, as is the complexity of each subject area that it can handle. And so here, couple of things I'll highlight, for example, are anomalies. You can identify anomalies in terms of are there very high rated employees who are at very low compensation, right? Or vice versa, a very low rated employee, but is getting paid very high, right? So that's an important question which we always want to understand when we are talking about, demos always have a tendency to have some problems. So I think that probably is happening here. Let me see if this one loads up. Okay, maybe I just messed up, or maybe I've logged out of this session right now. But the bottom line is there's another question that is top of mind, which is salary compression. Are there people with high skills and experiences who are at low comp ratio? And if you see the story, I can keep adding more parts of the conversation, from compensation to performance to attrition, to skills gaps or to L&D, and hence really help our talent grow faster. The last thing I'll leave you with is skills. So in this release, we are also bringing in data from talent profile and person profile. And in one single view, or in one single subject area, you now have the power to understand the model profiles, which is essentially for a specific job, what kind of proficiencies or competencies or skills I'm looking for. At the same time, for the workers in my organization, what are the kind of skills and competencies, etc., that I need. Actually, I should show here, right? So all the workers in your organization, what are the skills, competencies, degrees, languages, special projects they've worked on, their career preferences are together. Now, the power of doing this together is that we can answer deeper questions like what are the current folks for which there's a high skills match or there's a skills gap, or we can start thinking in terms of succession plans. Who are the other people who actually do match the specific jobs, etc. So I could go on and on, but in the interest of time, I'm going to pass it back to Ben, and we will have this information out soon.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Manisha. It was excellent. And now we are going to have a demo of Redwood and conditional engine by Jacques. So Jacques, I think you can take it from here.
Perfect. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but we cannot see you.
Okay. Oh, you should all consider yourself lucky. Here I am. I'm going to go ahead and take sharing
Sure.
from you. I apologize ahead of time. There's construction in the background, so hopefully you won't hear too many background noises. But
and do you want to put your? Yeah, I stopped share there. And do you want to share your webcam also, Jacques? Or
I am sharing my webcam. Can people see me?
I can't. Not sure if Brandon, you can see.
I cannot. Just click the start video button on Zoom. That may be your issue.
That's weird. All right.
Or you can just share your screen. It's
yeah,
fine,
I'm just going to share my screen at this point. Yeah. I'll send everybody a picture.
We can see.
Oh, there we go. All right. Am I sharing the proper screen here?
Yes, correct.
All right. So sorry about that. So I just wanted, just because it's so easy to forget, we've now internally been using the redwood skin for some time. So we sort of forget what the old skin looked like, which is the one everyone else is using. So this is probably the home page, as most of you are accustomed to it. The feature function of the new redwood skin doesn't affect the capabilities. But what we did try to do when we created the redwood skin was to make the information a little bit more dense. The color palette now matches a lot better and
Yeah, and maybe I think you have some connection issue, Jacques. So maybe turn off the camera. Maybe it will take less internet bandwidth. Maybe. And Brandon, is it my connection or is Jacques having some issue with?
All right. Can you guys hear me again? I'm back.
Yeah, we can hear you. Okay, perfect.
It's every so often when I go to screen share, Zoom crashes. So Zoom crashed and restarted. So hopefully you can see me now and
Yes.
see me physically, and it usually works fine the second time around. So, all right, this is the new look and feel of the home page. It behaves exactly the same way as it used to, but the information's a little bit more dense. The color palette matches a lot more the rest of the Oracle color palette. For those of you who are uptaking 6.1, the way you turn on the redwood skin is you can go into your console, go to the preview setting and just toggle this thing on and off, and then it'll effectively switch you to the redwood look and feel. It's an all or nothing thing. Either everyone's on redwood or no one is. So just keep that in mind when you flip that switch, that everybody will get the new look and feel. All right, so now let's talk a little bit about conditional formatting. So the notion behind conditional formatting is we wanted to open up the platform to give you more insights than just show you the numbers, but maybe give you a sense for, how the numbers relate to, meaningful thresholds. And so in this iteration, we've allowed you to create sort of conditional formatting rules to control, bars and, to effectively control columns and cells in a pivot table, for example. But ultimately, where we want to go is that not only can you, create red, yellow, green, and thresholds and all sorts of visual formatting rules, but ideally those rules would also trigger notifications and alerts and suggest data actions and things like that. So this is just, step one of many in making the platform a lot more insightful, if you will. So enough yapping. So the way you create a simple conditional formatting rule, you'll notice when I hover over visualizations, you'll see this new stoplight icon. So as you could imagine, if I click on this one, it'll allow me to create a conditional formatting rule that will apply to this viz by default. I can do it on any viz, or I can create project level conditional formatting rules that you can easily turn on for all the vizzes. But for the sake of simplicity, let me start here by looking at, this is my actual Garmin data. So I actually love to ride my bike. And so this chart here shows me the distance and my average speed effectively by week for the last year or so. And when I do my workouts, speed is a terrible indicator, or distance even is a terrible indicator of effort, right? My effort, I could go far and not, put any effort into it. So what I'd like to do is sort of overlay and give a sense of effort on all of my bike rides that I've done across the last year. So I'm going to create a rule that I'll call my effort rule. And then I want my effort in this instance to color the distance measure. Now I could have it color anything else, but for now we call this anchoring. I'm going to anchor my effort rule to the distance measure. Now what's interesting, there's a couple of presets here, so I'm going to try to do some, simple stop lighting. And so, but what I want to do in order to measure my effort, I actually have to factor in my heart rate, right? And my heart rate's not even participating in this viz. This is distance, this is speed, but average heart rate is a measure that I actually have in my data set. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, if my average heart rate is greater than, if I remember correctly, if it's greater than 140, then I consider that a good effort, right? Anything between 135 and 140, I consider that sort of ho-hum. And then anything below 130 is I wasn't putting any effort into this ride at all. Now, for any one of these, I can, of course, go in and play with sort of the color palette. Let me do something a little bit more noticeable here, some sort of yellow. You can also, change the font. you know, play around with that. Anyways, you get the hint. And so just like that now, within a couple of minutes, I was able to quickly sort of define that, you know, in this instance, I went 80 miles, but I really wasn't putting much effort into it because my heart rate, in fact, if I add my heart rate here to the tooltip, you can see here that my heart rate was just, well, I guess just below 140. This was, or this here was above 140 and so forth. So this is generally how you can create a conditional formatting rule. The other thing is once you create a conditional formatting rule, here I created it on distance, I can go to any other viz here and say, oh, this effort rule, it applies to distance. I happen to have distance in this chart. I turn it on and there you go. Now in this pivot table for each different row, I've effectively applied this specifically for this viz as well. So that's a pretty straightforward rule. One last sort of thing just to sort of wet your whistle on other kinds of rules is you could actually create, you know, a little bit more whatever, min, max, and average rule. And so what I could do here is I could say, let me create a rule on, I'll do a distance again. And what I'll do is rather than just do a simple rule based on a fixed number, I can actually compare distance to another measure. Or more interestingly, I can say, hey, you know, max distance. And so here I could say max, or let's do, yeah, let's do max distance. And so now I'll say that. So now I'll say for whichever one was my max distance, let me make it purple. And so there you go. So now I've got sort of a sequence of rules that are applying here and they're firing in sequence. So I'm evaluating my effort, then I'm evaluating my min max. I could have created another what we call fragment, which would be, you know, very similar, but this time I might want to highlight one last quickie here. Min dist, but I think you get the idea. This is for those of you who are familiar with the expression editor in the analytics suite. That's the same. You can do all of the rich expressions of logical SQL. And then if I did that right, let me change this to whatever, a sort of more evident color. Anyways, oh, there it is. That's my minimum distance, of course. So there you go. So you get the idea. You could quickly, you know, give a lot more insights to a chart by factoring in measures that aren't even potentially in the chart. The best example in a business scenario that I like to use is you might be looking at revenue and you've got a nice bar chart of revenue by product, and your best-selling product may be unprofitable. So you could color your revenue measure by the profitability measure, which becomes a whole new sort of dimension of insight when you're looking at charts and graphs. So that covers conditional formatting. You could imagine that over time, again, just to sort of wet your whistle, the idea here is that for any one of these rules, we could then trigger notifications, we could trigger alerts, make suggestions on data actions. And so you can see where this is going. Again, we're just at step one of many here. Hopefully that made sense. I'm going to send it back to you.
Thank you very much, Jacques. It's very cool. And just to let everybody know, in 5-10 minutes, we will have a live Q&A. So Jacques is going to answer all your questions that you put in the Q&A section of Zoom. And right now we have Ash, and Ash is going to speak about Fusion ERP Analytics. Ash is our Senior Director of Product Management. And Ash, you can take it from here. And you are on mute, Ash, I think.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay now?
Yes and yes.
Okay. All right, so let me dive into it straight away. So I think all of you know by now that Fusion Analytics Warehouse provides pre-packaged turnkey analytics on top of Oracle Cloud application data sources, but extensible to external data sources as well. We support hundreds of use cases, right? Goal is to ensure you're never deprived of insights. You can analyze working capital and improve collection efficiency or negotiate terms with your suppliers based on the insights you get. You can get to a top-down view on products and regional P&Ls and reconcile that with a bottoms-up view. But then the focus of today is procurement and spend analytics, where you get visibility into the enterprise spend. You can not only protect your margins, but really improve them, right? You get to the next level of operational efficiency on source to settle processes. I'm going to breeze through some art of possible analysis in next 3 to 4 minutes here to give you a sneak peek into what's feasible. Now, everything I'm going to show, right, a high probability that your chief procurement officer cares about it, right? Operational efficiency and cost reduction are a big focus area for them. With the latest release available today, yes, this is available today, FAW provides you a long list of KPIs around purchasing, which provides a business view as well as a process efficiency centric view, including cycle times. You can get insights on how your buyers are utilizing the existing purchasing agreements. How much of the spend is non-agreement spend. You get to understand which agreements are coming up for expiration, are going to be end of life, which can be an input to designing, new sourcing actions, whether it's a contract renegotiation or creating a new RFQ or RFP. For your executives running the shared services operation, they can get to a detailed view of the source to settle operational metrics and ensure they're meeting their goals or figure out what improvements they need to drive forward. Your supply chain teams can now understand the on-time delivery performance of your suppliers based on receipts for all the products showing up at the warehouses, inspections data as you go through quality inspection, and just on-time delivery performance. Your finance and operations executives, they get a deeper understanding of the savings opportunities, including identification of the savings potential based on what are the maximum and minimum prices you're paying, discounts and understanding of PPV and IPV, the purchase and invoice price variances. All these KPIs available out of box for your executives. You can get into the details for savings opportunity to understand the saving potential across categories, right? Or suppliers based on the volumes and current discount levels. So you can really get into detailed insights when you talk about savings. You can get to a very comprehensive view, understanding the total spend, who are your key suppliers, understand the aging, right, on how you're doing in terms of paying to the suppliers, understand the on-time delivery performance, and figure out the savings potential. These are some of the possibilities around what is available today, but there is a lot more that you can do with FAW. So with that, I'm just going to stop here and hand it back to you, Ben.
Perfect. Thank you, Ash. So what we are going to do now, I see we have a few questions. So I'm going to ask to all of the product manager and everybody from the panel to put yourself on webcam, and I'm going to select a few questions and we are going to try to answer them together. So let's see what we have. Do we still have Carrie here? Because I think, yeah, there is a question for Carrie and there are some questions for everyone, in fact. So Carrie, there is a question from Anil Mendapara. The question is there any feature in OAC for live data streaming from IoT sensor data?
Currently, that's something that's going to be going into ADW and then accessible through OAC.
Okay, perfect. We have a question, let's see, maybe for Ash or maybe Jacques, can we connect OAC or OAS to SaaS server?
Go
Josh,
ahead,
I'll
Ash.
defer to you. I'll defer to you.
All joking aside, I don't know SaaS servers specifically, but we have so many connectivity options today. If we can't do it natively, we can go through JDBC, ODBC connectivity. So if the SaaS server does expose itself, which I suspect it should, it most likely could, then we could get to it that way. That's sort of our lowest common access method. And so that's what I would answer, but I don't know SaaS specifically. We could probably find out for you though.
Yeah, I think we have some
Yeah,
customers using a JDBC for that.
Okay.
Another one, so that one is still from Anil Mandapara. Is OAC as a connector to stream data from OSI soft P system? That one is a little bit tricky. So I don't know, Jacques, do you want to take it?
I would answer generally the same thing. I mean, this is such a specific answer that I.
Perfect. We have a question from Khalid Mustafa. How can we embed line in maps, like showing the sector of Monaco GP? Barry, do you want to take it?
It's actually quite easy because we have unrelated map layers, and the sectors, you add the data layers. We could actually show it to you. Ben's done this quite easily. Once you bring in the JSON file, which provides the sector information, you bring that in as a mapping layer. And then when you bring in the chart object of map and then layer over that JSON sectors thing, it automatically connects all the segments where they're appropriate according to the GPS locations. So it's all done without code, very simple drag and drop.
Yeah, and we have also an editor in OAC where you can literally just draw the line on the map if you don't have the geocode or the spatial code. So it's very, very easy. A question from Yusuf Khatib, which is, will you share the recording link? Yes, so for everyone leaving right now the meeting, you will know that we are going to send a follow-up email. And during this follow-up email, you will have everything, the recording, the email address, the linking of everyone. You can connect with everybody. And I'm also asking you to answer 2 polls today. One poll is to tell me how you score this webinar. We are going to continue the question right now, but I want to know if you like this webinar, yes or not, and we will continue to deliver on it. And then you will receive this email, and I will ask you also something else after. We have a question for Ash from Iman Janshidpur. Hi, Iman, nice to see you again. When Redwood will be added to FAW, Ash?
Yeah, so I think it's coming soon. The plan to make Redwood experience available in FAW for the FAW specific screens, the whole admin experience, that should be coming in later this year. With the next release by end of this calendar year. That's the plan, right? But worst case, early next calendar year. It's coming soon.
Perfect. A question again for you, Ash, from Raj Bala. FAW can only integrate with Fusion apps, and it's a question.
Excellent question, and thank you, Raj, for asking that. FAW comes fully integrated with Fusion applications for sure, but the most important thing to know is you can go beyond that to connect to any data source. You can connect to EBS, you can connect to SAP, you can connect to Salesforce. So you can connect to all the data sources that's available within your ecosystem.
Perfect. Same from Raj Bala. We have a question maybe for Barry. How many rows or records this visualization can crunch max?
I can answer that one,
Yeah,
Barry.
go, Jeff.
So it depends on the viz, assuming there's a couple of things at play there. Depending on if your query governor is wide open and you have access to all the data you are allowed to fetch, different charts allow different numbers. So bar lines and areas and pies allow you 500,000 data points. Scatters 2 million data points. Bubbles 500,000. Tree maps and sunburst 500,000. Waterfall 75,000. So would you ever want to display that many data points? No, but you could, should you choose to. Yeah, and of course, just because you can, the client gets slower the more you display those kinds of caveats. But one of the things about OAC is it is extremely scalable to lots of data. It's not, on your desktop that would, potentially have a lot more trouble rendering if you were running a desktop client versus something that can run in the cloud.
Perfect. We have a question maybe for Manisha from Sajid Mohammed. We are trying to get free trial offering of FAW with personal account and working with sales rep, but no luck so far. Can we get subscription of trial offering of FAW with a personal account?
Personal account meaning for an individual user? No, FAW is actually offering for an enterprise, right? So it could be a small company or a big company, but it's your company which will get an account. And again, as Ash mentioned, the primary source of data is a Fusion pod. So I'm hoping none of you as an individual person is using the HCM or the ERP system. So we will need a group of people using those systems so we can bring the data in and then show all the visualizations with it.
Perfect. We have a question from Muhammad Furkan, and that will be maybe for Carrie. Can we integrate this with our software or with website? So can you take, for example, your Premier League DV or any type of sport analytic or any type of DV and put them on the website?
We will be actually creating some areas for some of these DV templates to be available for developers, which you could then import into your environment of OAC and share them. I guess the most common way would be to leverage the embedding technology, whether you're embedding the Canvas page. There's a lot of different assets if you search on docs.oracle.com to see how the embedding works. And there's some great blogs written that will showcase that implementation with different security models.
Perfect. We have a question from Ankit Gupta. How to get data from Oracle CX Commerce Cloud into ADW? So I'm not sure if Manisha or Ash, you want to take that one?
Sorry, data from where?
From Oracle CX.
CX Commerce Cloud. Okay, got it. Yeah, so I think once the so FAW, I think Ben, he shared the roadmap, right? So FAW is a family. So we have ERP HCM available. CX Analytics is on the roadmap. When Fusion CX Analytics is available, that will support data from all CX Cloud data sources, including Commerce Cloud.
Perfect. There is a question from Ankit Gupta. Is there a way to save style or color palette as per org color scheme and use it across projects? So maybe that it's for Jacques.
Sorry, I was reading another question when you were saying
so
it. I'm so sorry.
So no worry, it's a question from Ankit. He wants to know if we can save the style of the color palette for color scheme across multiple projects. So if he's spending like 2 hours to design with style, can he apply it to another project?
Yeah, we are working on better theming so that you could effectively create sort of a corporate theme that you would apply to all the default projects. You can sort of save some color in the, I can't remember what the menu option. Effectively, not yet is the true answer to your question. We are making progress towards that, and we do want to support that. You're probably halfway there right now. You can save some formatting options and share them with parts of, or with other, or import them in other projects. But what you're looking for is coming soon, hopefully.
Perfect. We have another question from Santosh Chandra Sekaran, and sorry for not spelling correctly maybe your name. How does one mix OAC DV dashboard views and classic analytic to have best of both in one dashboard? So I will take that one because I try to push that one a lot to be delivered maybe this year. So two things. We are maybe going to create a brand new custom homepage, if you prefer a container, where you will be able to put some menu, you will be able to put your classic report, classic dashboard, DV project, everything under the same page. So that it's one option we are working on. I will put the name of Gabby Robin, which is working on that in the chat. I will all invite you to contact Gabby Robin on LinkedIn and ask him to push this feature as fast as possible. Then a second option is going to be in Classic, you can take some DV project and put them into your Classic dashboard. It's not per se really both of best world into one platform or one dashboard, I would say, but it's an option. So really the first one is something we are working on. A lot of customers want the same thing every day. They are asking for it, and we are working on it. Another question is going to be from Santosh again. Can filter in OAC DV be configured such that only some visuals are connected to the filter from other visual and the global filters on the top? And Barry, you can take that one if you want.
Yeah, sure. And that is completely possible. In fact, we have the global or canvas filter set on top of the thing, which affects all the visualizations. But you can actually go into any specific visualization, and there's the ability to set a context-specific filter for only that visualization. And then we have that ability, which I did show, that you can actually use visualizations to become the filters for the other visualizations, in which case, if I have a map and I click on China, then China becomes the filter for the other visualizations. So what's been asked? Absolutely.
Perfect. There is another question. In fact, there are more and more questions. Let's see, from Hilbert Spuijbroek. Will there be a one user license soon? For example, for €10 each month, you can use OAC. Now the minimum is 10 users license. For personal use, I would like to use a one user license, for example. Jacques, do you want to take that?
I would say just go ahead and download DV Desktop and don't tell anyone. I'm just kidding. I actually do know we're working right now on easier way to provide sort of free trials and sort of smaller environments, so that you don't have to have a whole pod to yourself, which is, you know, a pretty large piece of infrastructure, if you will. I don't know the specifics around the smallest licensing SKU though, but we are sort of making progress towards, anyways, internally we call it multi-tenancy, but the ability to split one server across multiple, you know, customers, if you will, so we could provide smaller variations of OAC.
Perfect. And Jacques is also in charge with Regi of mobile analytics. What I will do, we continue to answer the question, but I will ask you also by a poll if you plan to use Oracle Analytics Mobile. So feel free to vote. It's always cool to know if you plan to use the new Oracle Analytics Mobile app. A question from, let's see, someone else, from Venkata Minampati. Is the database or data store and OAC are on the same network? I mean, can I have OAC instance in Ashburn region and the data store in Phoenix, or do I need OAC instance right next to my data store? I can take some of that, and maybe Jacques or Manisha can take also. So your data store, your object store is on the same network. If you have OIC in Ashburn, you have your data store right beside. It's why we have a very good performance in OIC. Now, when you ask, can I have OIC instance in Ashburn region and the data store in Phoenix, or do I need an instance right to my data store or database? Well, it's two different things. Data store, I think, no, you have to get your data store on the same region, and Jacques is going to speak about that. For the database, yes, of course. Database, you could have Redshift on Amazon, you could have Snowflake somewhere else on Azure, you can have your Oracle database on Phoenix, you can have an ADW in France if you want. And it's totally okay to connect OIC to multiple data sources at the same time. A lot of customers are doing that. They have 75 S-base cube all over the world. They have, for GDPR reason, they have a data warehouse in Europe, another one in APAC, another one in US. So that totally. Now for the object store, Jacques, maybe that's one.
No, I think you answered it right. There are benefits to having your data as close to the server as possible, but I would say 90% of the people don't sort of, their data isn't necessarily in the same data center. The data store or the object store, yes, you answered it perfectly, Ben. There's
perfect. So we have another question, and that might be for Carrie. You from Ankit Gupta. You have suggested live streaming data from IoT devices to ADW and OIC on top of it. Will it be the same for unstructured and semi-structured output from devices as well?
I'll probably pass some of that to Jacques. We do support some Hadoop. So it depends on what it is. That could be a pretty broad question.
Yeah, I'll be honest. We're the PM team here. We don't have our sort of back end PMs here. We have the front end PMs mostly. And we're frankly one of the benefits of our semantic layer is that we're completely abstracted from the actual instantiation of the data, the physical data. And so there's sort of, to me, that's a data processing question, not so much an analytic question. So I don't know the specifics about your type of data, but it seems totally reasonable, like we could do it. I just don't know
we still have a connector to Hadoop, to Spark, to Apache Eve, so you can still connect in real time to your unstructured data. You can push them to OIC and look at them in real time. Now for streaming, you will have to have Oracle Data Integrator to stream your data and Oracle Streaming. You have also some version of Kafka that you can put on Oracle Cloud and use that to stream your data. So the answer is yes, but it's not as easy as a single connector, I will say. Streaming is a little bit different. Let's go to another one. Ement Bendy. I am using OIC forecasting analytic, and it's obvious that maximum forecast values exceed the max value from training dataset at some point. Is there a way to define endpoint to max forecast values? And Jacques, you can
let's ask Carrie.
Carrie.
No, I'm just kidding.
I would say with machine learning, probably doing a time series is your best bet if you're wanting to control something to that level. The one click's not gonna. Go ahead, Jacques, if you have something to add to that.
No, I was simply going to defer that one to Philippe. Philippe, you know, our machine learning guy. Those are the kinds of details that only the ML PM would really just know off the top of his head.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and next month we will have Philippe, we will have Brett focusing more on machine learning and advanced analytics. So be sure to join again next month. We will have some more expertise on this side. I see also we have a question, let's see, from Rahul Kumar. Can we connect OIC Classic to Oracle ERP GL directly? Right now at my organization, we are reverse engineering using BICC to get files and ODI and RPD to make that data available. Two things. So OIC Classic can connect to Oracle ERP. Now you have two types of Oracle ERP. You have Oracle ERP Cloud with BICC and Oracle eBusiness Suite. With Oracle eBusiness Suite, you can connect in real time. You can connect with ODI directly. Now, right now at my organization, we are reverse engineering using BICC to get files and ODI and RPD to make that data available. Jack, do you get more on that? I don't know. I don't know why you are reverse engineering the BICC. BICC is a connector to connect to ERP Cloud. So I guess if you are
you're trying to figure out maybe they're fetching or sniffing out the SQL that it generates and then using that as part of the RPD creation to sort of, I don't know. It sounds like a clever way to handle that, frankly.
Yeah, you will see. You can send an email to us after the live. You will have an email tomorrow. We have our email there. You can contact us, and I can bring someone like Ash before to answer this type of question. What is the future of OAC without dependencies on RPD? So same thing. I think next month we will have some thing like that with Brett. He's going to demo what will be the new web-based semantic modeler online. So the RPD that you use is currently using the BI admin tool on-prem on your software, on your desktop. We are going to take this BI admin tool and your RPD, branch it, put it directly online, put some governance with GitHub, and you will have a drag and drop interface to do the same thing you were doing on your RPD on-prem, but online. So
if I can just speak,
go ahead.
just to clarify for maybe everybody else on the call, there's absolutely no dependency on an RPD for OAC today. You can use OAC with no RPD just fine today. Just have your own data sets. We now have this notion as of 6.1, which is just the latest version, that you can create multi-table data sets. So effectively data sets with join logic to multiple database columns. And so you can do some advanced, all the more advanced types of joins that you couldn't do within a project. So today you could actually not have an RPD and then just create your data sets directly in OAC without ever having an admin tool nearby.
And also, if you know, we do have the professional edition of OAC, which by nature comes without the BI server or the RPD. So we do offer that as well.
Yeah.
Perfect. We have a question from Santosh for Barry. You can maybe take that one. OAC DV, can we refresh the data completely from RPD subject area out of ADW so that the DV is fully running on cache data instead of live query?
So yes, you do have the caching option on all of the projects, and there's a little lightning bolt and stuff where you can control these, and it's a bunch of controls to do that. So you can have all the data scheduled, refreshed, and pushed out into the OAC platform. My question back to that is, why would you not want to run it live off ADW? Because ADW being so performant, running live is actually going to be a much better solution than caching it.
Perfect. We have a question from Sandana Mainti, which is, what are the differences between OAC and OBIEE? Carrie, do you want to take that one?
I think this is probably a good question for you, but I'll start with OAC being a cloud product and OBIEE being an on-premises, the previous application that was built from many years ago. So OBIEE has not been updated with the new technology that OAC is getting published with. So it's still usable. But Ben, if you have anything else you want to add to that.
Yeah, so basically, if you prefer, OBIEE was our business intelligence product. If I remember, we released the first version in 2007. Now we migrated from business intelligence to Oracle Analytics. OBIEE was on-prem, Carrie is right. Oracle Analytics Cloud is in the cloud. OBIEE now, I will say, it's the same as Oracle Analytics Server, except that Oracle Analytics Server, you have data visualization, data preparation, data flow, machine learning, mobile analytic, and so on and so on. So we added like ton of new augmented analytic feature. What Alex said at the start, natural language processing, natural language generation, one-click forecast, and so on and so on. So OBIE, it's really our old product, legacy product. We still have, I think, thousands of customers using it. But this year, there is like a huge push. Most of the customers on OBIE are already transitioning to OAC, Oracle Analytics Cloud, or OAS. I think we will have like almost nobody remaining on OBIE by the end of the year. So very good question.
Yeah, and there is a clear migration from OBIE to Oracle Analytics in general. So think of it as the evolution of OBIE when the cloud happened, right? It was a step change, but it's the evolution of the product.
Exactly. We have still few questions. I know that we still have 75 people on the call, so thank you for that. I'm going
to take one, which was, I think, a follow-up on the OAC without the RPD question. I'm assuming this follow-up, which was about security. So now I understand the original question a little bit better. So starting in 6.2, your data sets in Oracle Analytics, your DV data sets or your multi-table data sets can now support security join tables, which will allow you to do security join, data level security within a data set. So that should hopefully answer your question. So that you would end up having the level of security control almost as granular as what you can do in the RPD today. So now Perfect. I get your original question.
And one thing, I'm going to run a last poll, and then we will answer the last questions. The poll is that we need your help. We have Gartner Peer Insight, which is a website where you can put some reviews on Oracle Analytics. We need customer, not partner, but customers to go and put some 5-star reviews. So I'm going to put a poll. If you are willing to help us, tell us. I will send you the link to put a review on Gartner Peer Insight. Again, if you are a partner, just put no. If you are an Oracle employee, put no. But if you are a customer and you are using Oracle Analytics, we will be like super happy if you can spend 5 minutes to put a very good review for us. That it's helping our business and it's helping also all of our customers. So I will let this poll for maybe 1 minute. And then Barry, I see you have a question from Mohammed, Saeed Ahmed. Can we combine data from Oracle Fusion, SAS, and PaaS to generate reports?
So absolutely, yes. If you're not going to do FAW, which is intrinsically out of the box connecting Fusion, SAS, and PaaS together, you can use OAC directly because you can actually have the connectors, native connectors built in for Fusion SAS are there. So you can bring in those details into a project, and then you can subsequently make other connections to whatever other sources you like, and then connect those within your project. So absolutely.
Perfect. Another question, but I think, Jacques, you are answering it, about is there a plan to add dataset and data flow ownership transferal from Brendan Pavel?
So I'll answer it instead of typing it. Yeah, coming, I'm not going to give you a version number, but I think it's in the next release. We're adding the ability to transfer ownership of OAC objects in general, because this issue that you bring up goes beyond just data flows and data sets, right? It goes across, if somebody leaves your company and they had created a bunch of stuff, how can you take ownership of that? So we're adding the ability to do that in an upcoming release very soon.
Perfect. We have a question from Prantik Mukherjee. Can we send a report output to a SFTP server? I believe you can do that with BI Publisher and also with ODI, but not directly from OAC. So I think that it's okay. Another one from Nkit for unstructured data, which could be the right option on storage while building a data lake. So Jacques, do you want to take that
No,
one, or maybe
I don't want to take that one.
So we will take it maybe on the next Oracle Analytics Live. You have different options, but while building a data lake, yeah, we will bring a data lake expert next time, because you have maybe 5 options.
Yeah, actually, just for those of you still on the call, Ben mentioned that Brett is going to be on the call. Brett is the PM for all of the data, anything around data movement, data storage, data caching. His team manages all of that. So he would have been great to answer most of these sort of what I call back-endy questions that I'm totally abstracted from in my day-to-day world. So make sure you join next month when Brett's there.
A question for maybe Barry from Raj Bala. Are you coming up with a new scheduling feature for this new data visualization?
Well, so scheduling is already kind of built in with various areas around data flows. Like when you build the data flows, it creates a data set, you build a project on top of that. So we're not really creating schedules for data visualizations as such, but we're creating already there is a data flow which can be scheduled, which updates the data, which feeds those visualizations. And that's already in the product.
And we are adding a related feature again by the end of the year to schedule the DV projects to run and be delivered via email. So I don't know if you were alluding to that maybe as well. So that is coming. Maybe it's coming, but I'm not sure that was your question.
Yeah, I think it might have been the question. And same thing, Raj, a good idea. You saw I put the email of Gabby Rubin in the chat. So same thing, if you think it's really something you need, maybe drop an email, make your voice raise, and maybe we will be able to deliver that faster.
And go to the Idea Lab as well.
And ID Lab as well, which is
upvote.
very good. Yeah, I'm going to put the link of the ID Lab. I'm not sure if I have a link somewhere. Let's go, Open Lab, ID Lab. I'm going to put the link in 2 minutes. And the link of the ID Lab will be in the follow-up email. So we have a bunch of different links, including the ID Lab. Last question, and then we close it. Okay, so 2 last questions, and then we close it, okay? So from Mancash, for all the OAC scheduling are based upon a calendar, will ever get it based on a trigger event on the data load as completed, for example, Jacques?
I don't know for sure the details of that scheduling option. A different PM owns that. It sounds like I've heard it being talked about in terms of being able to be triggered after a data set is loaded, but I don't want to commit to that. It's not mine. It's not my baby.
Perfect. Yes, it's normally in the roadmap, but it will come next year. I think I saw an item that it will be after the first MVP version of that. Sajid Mohamed, if time permits, can someone please explain the advancement that OAC offer in terms of performance while handling huge amount of data when compared to other tools like Tableau or Power BI? I will take the first part, Jacques, if it's okay for you. In terms of performance, I can tell you I was a customer for 15 years. I implemented Oracle Analytics Cloud, OBIE, Tableau, Tableau Server, Power BI. OAC is killing the competition. And one of the reasons is that if you go to Tableau, for example, it's working fast. If you have, I would say, a file with 10 columns, as soon as you start to create a data set with 100 columns, for example, your dashboard is going to be super slow. You are going to have performance issues. On my side, it has been a nightmare in my previous experience because of that. Every time some employees were doing an extract in Tableau using 20, 50 columns, they were complaining because to open a dashboard, it was taking like 1 minute or 2. In OAC, we have a fast object store, 1. 2, you have also autonomous data warehouse, which is linked to that. And when you use autonomous data warehouse, you can put 100 columns if you want with attributes. Click and you will have all your dashboard with 5 queries in a matter of 1 or 2 seconds. I created like a crazy dashboard with 100 columns, with a heat map of all the flights from all the airline companies in the US. And literally, the table has 100 columns and 28 million records, and everything is running in 2 seconds. So we are blasting competition with that, and it's a good thing. If you use Essbase, same thing. Essbase, it will not be the number of columns that you have, but if you have a point of view with 12 columns, Essbase is a cube, and cube, as you know, it's very, very fast. So in this term, it's going really well. And then in OAC, they did, all the product management team did a lot of work to optimize the object store, optimize the queries, optimize DB, and maybe Jacques, you can take some of that on your side.
Yeah, so, you know, there's a lot of things that happen from release to release that we don't really advertise, we don't really tell people about. But one of the things that's currently happening right now that has actually been GA since 6.0, starting in select regions in 6.0, is the fact that even our caches, you know, our internal caches, we used to call them XSA caches, which was sort of this binary, oh.
No, you can continue.
Oh, no,
Jacques.
okay, I thought it hung up, which was this sort of binary file format where your DV projects were stored in a sort of a proprietary format. Behind the scenes now, we actually embed an ADW data source, we'll call it, so that we can leverage all of the intelligence and the caching and the performance of, you know, the Oracle database to sort of turbocharge even your, you know, local files.